Hey guys, it's Aaron and Mike back again from QueerDaze. We hope everyone's having a lovely weekend. For once, it is sunny in Dublin, Ireland. So,
and I love it.
we are well lacking in vitamin D, so we need to soak all of this in. But on a serious note, guys, today we are talking about a serious subject. So there is a sensitivity warning on this video. So you may have seen in the news recently that Harvey Weinstein was convicted on sexual abuse charges in LA last week, having previously done so in New York. So as you might know, this actually brought upon about the Me Too movement, which brought to light some very serious incidents that has gone on for a number of years. But what we're going to talk about in this video today is that sexual abuse also happens within the male community, within the gay community, and to men.
I was still in grade school, so I imagine I was 9 or 10, and my home life was not great. I never thought something was wrong with me, but my parents certainly did. And it wasn't that I was gay. I had no idea that I was gay, and I'm sure they had no idea I was gay. I was just different. For some reason, I preferred to be myself, and basically that was it. So suddenly, this kid in the neighborhood takes an interest in me. He was a few years older, and I start sleeping at his house. And, I remember always being in his room and the door being locked. And the only thing I remember ever going on in there was like playing doctor, and I don't mean playing doctor, I mean playing doctor to the nth degree. I mean, it was just amazing. And the worst part for me was the fact that I liked it so much. I mean, I came from a very abusive home emotionally, and being smacked and whacked around a lot. So it was really the only affection I ever received. And suddenly this guy, I don't know, I think back and I think somebody else took my place or something, but I was very upset. And I told my mother, because I knew it was wrong, and maybe I just needed somebody to talk to. And basically her response was, you should just be happy you have friends and stop exaggerating. And so I shut up about it, but in my mind, there was always this conflict that, how could I love something so much that I knew somehow at the age of 9, 10 was so wrong.
And look, I want to, on a personal note, I want to thank you for sharing that with me. I know I can't even imagine how hard that must have been on you and how much that must have played on your mind. Looking back now, how do you think it affected you in the years after?
It's very strange. I mean, for a long time, for so long, I missed the affection I received from this guy, even though I knew it was wrong. It was bad. I can't say I knew it was gay because I didn't know what gay was. But I knew I was doing something that was wrong, but yet it felt so good. And it was just this terrible conflict in my mind and in my heart. And I think for many years, I wasn't looking to be in a sexually abusive or a sexual relationship with a man, but I just wanted to feel that affection from somebody, which I, never received. And that's what played on my mind most, I think. And I was lucky, that eventually I was able to forget about it, except for, extreme moments when, for some reason it would come up again and rear its ugly head in my mind.
So a second incident happened later in life as an adult. Can you, if you want to, share that with us?
It's strange because I think, it's so crazy to believe that it happened once and I did not learn. But the fact of the matter was, I now graduated from college. I was working for a financial firm in Chicago. But emotionally, I was just a kid. I never grew up. I never had anybody teach, I never was able to learn anything from my parents because they were in such a abysmal, horrible relationship, and so I had nobody really to learn things from. So anyway, I'm in Europe for a few weeks. I'm 22. It's the summer. My sister asked me if I wanted to meet her and a few friends, and I did, and I had a great time. And then they all had to go back to their respective countries, or my sister to, I don't know where she was living, but to her job or to school or something. And I called up work and said I was going to be gone a few extra days. And we were all leaving from the south of France, and that's where I decided to stay in this little town called Juan-le-Pont. So I'm all by myself there. And it's probably my second day. And I'm just walking down the street, maybe looking for a drink somewhere or going home to change. I can't even remember. And these two men stopped me. And I would have guessed they were probably in the mid-30s, and they're talking to me for a few minutes. And I don't know if it was true, it probably wasn't true, but they said they worked for the same financial firm in Florida. And they told me they were staying in Monaco. And I'd never been to Monaco. I'd been planning to go there and take the train up there. And they said, you know, they had a car. And, you know, would I like to drive up there with them? They take me back later. And when it was drive, I wanted to do because it's famous for all the hairpin turns and just the beauty of the sea and everything. So we got in their car, went up there, and when we got to Monaco, they said they had to stop at their hotel for a minute. And it was a nice hotel. I knew the hotel. And so we got out of the car, parked, the valet took it, and we, you know, went up to the room. And they said, they said something about ordering a few drinks, and maybe at this time I started to feel uncomfortable. And not all of a sudden, but gradually, I guess, one of the men was standing by the door, and the other man was sitting down in a big lounge chair, I remember it, by these French doors that opened up to the sea. And then he told me to come over there and basically get on my knees and go to work. And, you know, I mean, my brain just wasn't functioning. And if I hadn't been so young emotionally, I would have realized this probably when I was still in Juan-le-Pont. So all of a sudden, I'm basically locked in this hotel room and told to go to work, and there was no way out. I just didn't know what to do. And I don't know if it was the room service that came to the room or whatever, but out of the corner of my eye, you know, I saw the one guy move from the door, and I just went tearing out of there. And I mean, I was just scared as hell. I mean, I was just like running like crazy. And I remember seeing a train station, and I'm thinking, you know, that was the only thing I could do. I mean, my French, I spoke French so poorly. I had no passport. What was I going to do? You know, so I had enough money to get on this train, took it back to Juan-le-Pont, probably, I don't know, a 40-minute train ride, ran to my hotel, got my stuff, and took the next train to Paris. And I was just basically falling apart because there was just nothing I could do. And I kept asking myself, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And, you know, I never found the answer. You know, it's funny because at this point I kind of reconciled with the first incident, and I really thought about it. But with the second incident, the most troubling fact was, and this actually happened after the first instant too, because my mother did not believe me, but there was nobody I ever trusted enough to really share myself with. And it wasn't the fact that I thought I was gay. I just could never trust anybody. And that's the one thing I think that really made me hurt the most, was I had this, you know, it was terrifying. This terrifying thing happened to me, and there was nobody I could talk to. It was like, you know, I became mute. And so I'm just living with this thing, you know, ready to explode and not knowing what to do and thinking, you know, what did I do? And there was just nobody I trusted enough to tell, who could say, you know, it wasn't your fault. You know, you didn't do anything wrong. That was really stupid. No. You know what? First of all, I said, I could never let myself trust people enough to get to know the real me, so there was nobody I could talk to. But the other thing, again, is, I never made people, when you get older, I think this is something you should learn, you don't just trust somebody. People have to earn their trust. And, that takes time. And you don't just, walk off with strangers or walk off with, someone who tells you, they're going to do this and that, People have to earn their trust and don't give that away freely. And it's interesting because, even if, I mean, like you said, it happens to men, it happens to women, it happens to kids, but I think, one of the best things, I don't know if this happens to animals, but being human is we have the ability to overcome these things. And, I've overcome them, and I've overcome a lot of other obstacles, and I really think I have the best life possible. So, they were horrible things, but when bad things happen, hopefully, for most people, they make you stronger and make you appreciate the good more than the bad.